From catching a brain-eating amoeba at a water park to haunted islands filled with ghosts, here are 8 real places straight out of a nightmare. Maybe don't watch this before you go to bed. Number 8. The Hill of Crosses, Lithuania. Hundreds of thousands of crosses cover a hill outside the city of Šiauliai, Lithuania. While it's not clear when this Hill of Crosses actually started, these crosses and rosaries remain a testament to Catholicism and the Lithuanian spirit. This spooky hill is known for its legends of ghosts, miracles, and heroic acts of defiance. In Lithuania, religion has been threatened time and time again, and yet the local people have managed to preserve their faith. Monasteries and castles are said to have been on the hill, and the ghosts of the slain come out at night. When the Russian Empire took over Lithuania, the locals rebelled against the Tsar, but they were soundly defeated. The Tsar limited national identity by repressing religious expression, so the families of the rebels were unable to bury their dead. Instead, they started placing crosses on the legendary hill in memory of their loved ones. In the 1900s, when Germany and then the Soviet Union held a strong grasp on northern Lithuania, the locals continued to post crosses on the hill as a way to protest their occupiers' presence. Under the communist regime, religion was also forbidden, and even though the site was bulldozed several times over, the crosses kept popping up. They even set up KGB agents to watch the site, and everyone bringing crosses was immediately fined and thrown in prison. Whenever the hill was destroyed over the centuries, crosses would pop right back up. This sacred hill became a symbol of Lithuanian culture and history. Nowadays, the hill stands full of rusted metal monuments and cracking statues. This local historic landmark really means something to the people who maintain it, but to anyone who doesn't know its story, it can be quite an eerie place, especially when the sun goes down. Number 7. Disney's River Country. In 1976, Disney debuted its first ever water park, River Country. It was their slippery, slidingest, raft ridingest, rope swingingest, old-fashioned, good, clean, wet American fun you've ever had. That sounds great, right? It was built on the edge of Florida's Bay Lake. The park had a number of water slides, swimming holes, man-made boulders, and even featured a lagoon that had been created by damming up a portion of the lake. Fast forward to the modern day, and the water park is completely devoid of any human life. Everything is there, except the park has been completely abandoned for more than 13 years. Slides, signs, and all of the off-limits destinations trappings are still there, even though people are not. Or at least they're not supposed to be. In 1980, an 11-year-old boy passed away because of a brain-eating amoeba lurking in the park's waters. The amoeba enters through the nose, goes up the nasal passage, and attacks the nervous system, including the brain. If this isn't one of the scariest things that could happen to you, I don't know what is. There were 3 other deaths attributed to the same disease from Florida waters, although none of them involved River Country. The park remained open for many more years after that, until one year it wasn't. Parts of the abandoned park are still visible, and despite some security guards trying to keep people out, some have managed to sneak in and take pictures and videos. The former tourist attraction that used to bring in millions of people is overgrown by weeds, trees, plants, making it look like a jungle. There is a rumor that Disney will punish trespassers in River Country by banning them from all of their parks for life. Number 6. The Capuchin Catacombs. The Capuchin Catacombs of Palermo are a vast and extensive network of burial catacombs in Palermo, Sicily, in southern Italy. In the 16th century, the monks of the Capuchin monastery began to excavate a place to bury their dead friars underneath the ground. However, over time, the locals of the nearby town began to see being buried in the crypts underneath Capuchin as a sort of status symbol. Because why not? During the 17th century, the wills of many of the Italian town's residents requested that they be buried within the catacombs. Some of the richer and pickier residents even demanded that they be buried in certain outfits, or that their outfits be changed and rotated on their corpse. Who wants that job? The catacombs were maintained as long as the relatives kept paying and donating on behalf of the deceased. As long as a steady flow of money kept coming in, the corpses of the dead were kept on display and properly maintained. However, if the money stopped flowing, then the bodies of the non-paying family members were put onto a shelf until further notice. Fun fact, the Capuchin Catacombs of Palermo are home to the largest collection of mummies in the world. The last person to be entombed in the catacombs was a local friar who was inducted in 1871. Nowadays, Capuchin is open to the public and is a very creepy kind of tourist attraction. The bodies of the dead are mummified, clothed, and on display for any and all that wish to see them. Some are put up on shelves, others are enshrined in glass cases, and still others are sleeping eternally on the crypt's many shelves. How would you like to be locked in at night there? And now for number 6. But first, if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back! Glad to see you again. And if you are new here, be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss out on the latest videos. Number 5. City of Sand. Kolmanskop is a small abandoned ghost town located in southern Namibia. This former diamond mining town used to be home to 1,000 people. In 1908, a railway worker discovered some diamonds in the sand and he showed them to his supervisor, maybe the biggest mistake of his life. The German railway inspector spread the word, so the German government took over and started exploiting the area. For a long time, the area generated a massive amount of income for its residents and their government. Because of this, an entire small city sprung up around the diamond mines with massive German estates, along with a hospital, ballroom, casino, all kinds of things. This diamond rush made it one of the wealthiest towns in the world, and the hospital had the first X-ray machine in the southern hemisphere. After World War I, the diamonds began to run dry in Kolmanskop, and the people started to abandon the town for greener pastures. Without anyone to upkeep the city and fight off the sand of the surrounding desert, the city has been getting slowly swallowed up. This spooky ghost town has been abandoned for years, and today it is in a restricted zone, but you can get permission to take a tour there and see how diamonds are not always forever. Number 4. Cameron Lake Monster. Cameron Lake is a massive and isolated body of water that's located on Vancouver Island just off the coast of Canada. The lake is chilly, expansive, and surrounded by beautiful mountain ranges. However, there just might be something a bit darker lurking under the surface of Cameron. For years, nearby locals have reported sightings of some kind of giant creature swimming in the lake. Unlike with most reports of cryptids or unrecognized creatures, there is actually some tangible evidence to support the claims that there might be some form of sea monster living within Cameron Lake. Fun fact, British Columbia has more reputed lake monsters than anywhere in the world. In 2008 and 2009, the radar of a group of researchers picked up on something odd and especially big, swimming near a normal-sized school of fish. They couldn't take any pictures since they lost their camera, but the more conservative experts theorized that it could have been an especially large, world record-sized sturgeon that was discovered. Others suggest that some kind of sea serpent or giant salamander might be living under the waters of the lake. I don't know about you, but if I'm out on a boat and a huge dark shape is lurking below, I think I would kind of freak out no matter what it was. Number 3. Hashima Island, Japan. Just off the coast of Japan, only 9 miles away from the famous city of Nagasaki, lies the abandoned island of Hashima. Not a single living person is on Hashima, although its towering gray buildings still remain, along with the massive concrete walls that trace the borders of the island and protect it from the surrounding harsh sea. Speaking of abandoned mining towns, established in 1887, the island was once used to mine undersea coal reserves. Over 5,000 people once lived on the island, but it was abandoned after World War II, during which it was used as a forced labor camp where the Japanese government made their people work to fund their war machine. More recently, it has become a popular ghostly attraction, and it is now protected by Japan as a historic landmark. It appeared in the Bond movie Skyfall, and recently, Google Maps was allowed to make an online street tour of the island that anyone who's interested can view. See, you don't even have to leave your house to visit this spooky place. Even though people can now once again walk its streets, the abandoned city looks eerily post-apocalyptic and barren. Might be a great place to go if there's ever a zombie apocalypse. Number 2. North Brother Island, New York. North Brother Island is one spooky reminder of dark asylums, prisons, medical research centers, and haunted places right near Manhattan. This patch of land is in the middle of the East River between the Bronx and Rikers Island, ominously named Hell's Gate. The first building on this island was the notorious Riverside Hospital in 1885, which served as a quarantine for those suffering from smallpox and tuberculosis. Then they started to expand to bring in people with other infectious diseases like scarlet fever, typhus, and even leprosy. Everyone lived in the hospital or ramshackle huts and tents until they died. Over the years, those that were doomed were forced to live out their days on the island to keep New York City clean. This place became a black hole that drew in death and disease, and the general public was terrified. Unimaginable suffering and horrors went on there. The famous Typhoid Mary, who was an asymptomatic carrier for the infectious disease, was confined here in 1907. The island has been used as everything from a drug rehabilitation center to housing for veterans over the years. Currently, North Brother is closed to the public and is designated as a bird sanctuary. The hospitals and buildings of the island have been covered and overgrown by forests, and the dark history of the island leads many to whisper that it's quite a creepy place. And ghosts are everywhere. Number 1. Oradour-sur-Glane, France. On June 10, 1944, the village of Oradour-sur-Glane in France was overrun by German forces. The soldiers of the Nazi regime burned, looted, and massacred the men, women, and children of the town. Many were herded into a church and burned to death. The SS not only killed the people in the village, but also random French citizens who just so happened to be riding their bikes nearby. Less than 30 of the village's hundreds of inhabitants survived. Oradour is now left as a monument and memorial to the many French and other Allied citizens who suffered during World War II. After the war, it was decided to neither demolish or rebuild it, so it was left frozen in time for 69 years. With crumbling buildings and an air of sadness that surrounds the village for anyone who knows its history, Oradour is a sad reminder of one of the world's darkest hours. Thanks for watching! Have you ever visited any of these places? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and I'll see you next time. Bye!